Alright my G's, hope you guys are doing well. Today is a very simple video. I'm just going to share 7 tips to streamline your workflow process. Can be applied in any software. It's more of a mindset kind of video today. So number 1, set yourself up to win by keeping things minimal. Keep the project tidy and bounce more. The more cluttered your track becomes due to having so many layers in your project, the more difficult it's going to become to finish the song. So the more minimal you can keep the whole thing, whether that's like grouping stuff together and bouncing out the whole group, just like getting stuff, just trying to make smaller amount of channels in your track if you can, where as and when you can. I know you can't always do it, but the more you can do that, the more it's going to just simplify your project, and you're not going to have to like be looking around for like hundreds of different sounds to tweak the right little thing. So yeah, whenever you can, just tidy and bounce more. That's very obvious. Tip number 2, always focus on the right sounds rather than too many, and start with the volume high. So yeah, again, like if you're using samples, for example, obviously we often talk about kick and snare samples. If you're using ones that are just not up to scratch with the rest of them, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot basically. So not just with kick and snare samples, but with any sound that you pick, just try and do your best to pick those like really wicked sounds to begin with, and then you're just going to have like much less work to do later on. And there's no point in trying to mix your track already like at a low volume, because when you turn it up later you're gonna have to redo it all. So start with the volume high as soon as you start your project. Next tip, always focus on sounds which need little or no work to fit the mix down. So again, it comes in a little bit with sample selection, but if you've already got a track sort of halfway built but you need some more sounds thrown in, then just be mindful of what spaces you have left in the frequency spectrum that you could fill out, and be mindful of the quality of the sounds that you put in, that they don't need to be EQ'd massively. They don't need to have the stereo adjustment messed with if something's like really overly too wide, or just like super mono like kind of pad thing that should have been stereo. So just try and find those sounds that are already going to be good enough that will fit with the mix down, and you don't need to process stuff to get it to fit. So obviously you're going to have to do stuff here and there a little bit to get it to fit, but the more you can just get those next sounds that you need to be high quality and the right choice, then that's going to make your workflow much faster if you can just try and focus on always doing that. Next, use composition, space and arrangement to make the mix down easier. Less conflicts equals better. So when you are composing your track, just be mindful of where you're placing your bass sounds, where you're placing your lead sounds, where you're placing your vocals. If ideally, when it's those important sounds that take up all the mid-range, ideally you want to compose it so that there's no sort of fighting going on in the mid-range. So you can have a bass hook here, and then a lead here, and then a vocal here, that kind of thing. So you can drastically improve your workflow and mix down when you focus on arranging stuff properly. A lot of the mix down work is in the arrangement, because a shoddy arrangement is going to lead to more difficult I lost my train of thought. A more shoddy arrangement is going to lead to much more mix down work that is not always necessary when you just arrange things right. There's a reason why we arrange things in a simple way for the mix down to work. It's just because that's how the best music actually is written, because you're paying attention to the dynamics of the mix down when you're composing. So just arrange things in a clever way. You'll have less conflicts between sounds, and obviously if there are some conflicts, you can sort that out if you need to, but the less conflicts that there are, the better. Next, use the tools you know well more, and worry less about keeping up with trends. Always focus on the end result. So obviously, you can get lost away in the next new plugin, the next new way to make a sound. There's so many like new techniques and new technologies always advancing, but the end result never really changes. I mean, if our goal is still to just make a track, a great track, then it really doesn't matter how you get there. So don't get lost in following new trends of new synths or new sounds. Just use what you know best, and there are multiple ways to get that end result that you want, and it doesn't have to be through a new trend. You can just stick with what you know best. Keep a concept in mind to make the track more fun. Keep yourself invested to finish it. Crucial for me to really get my arse in gear and to finish my songs. I've got to have a bit of emotional attachment or investment to a song. So whether it's a song that's been inspired by a place I've travelled to, or there's like a deep hidden meaning or sort of concept in the song, like I've read a book and found like a really cool sort of like concept from a book, and then I've tried to apply that into making a little story in the song. Whatever it is, have a concept in your mind when you're making a track, because then it's not just going to be any like random just trying to make a banger with no kind of like at least little idea of how you can make it your own, So when you have that concept and there's a bit of a meaning behind the song, you'll be more invested to finish it, and again that's going to improve your workflow in a sense, because you're actually going to have the motivation to finish it. Another tip: don't stress about finishing every track. Spend more time on the best ideas, and it's all a learning process. Okay, so often, sometimes I will make a track and realise halfway through that I'm probably not going to finish this one. It's just not as good as other ones, but that never like gets me down or anything. I don't aim to complete every single song that I start. For me, there's always a sort of switch point in a track where I think, oh yeah, this is good enough to be like a song that I want to finish. But yeah, don't stress about finishing every single project, because we have a limited amount of time, and so it's best to just spend the time that you do have to produce on those tracks which are the best ones. If you've got loads and loads of time and you want to like finish every single song, that's cool. But if you're not like, if you don't have all the time in the world, like a lot of us don't, then just pick the best ones and focus on them. And the ones that you don't finish, you probably learnt something or you improved your skills along the way while you were composing it. So it's not the end of the world if you don't finish every single project. Just make sure you finish the really good ones though. Okay, and that's basically it. I've got one more bonus tip as well, which is don't compare yourself so much to others, of course. Express yourself more uniquely instead. So yeah, of course, like there's always going to be someone better than you. There's many people better than me. When someone becomes the absolute idol of electronic music production, that won't last. Someone else will come and take their place, and it's a constantly evolving world of wonderful music. So you don't need to be the best in the world, because you won't be, or if you were, then you wouldn't be forever. So don't let that get you down. Just rather than thinking about that and comparing yourself to others, focus on how you can express yourself in the most fulfilling and unique way instead. That's what I do anyway. I don't, just head down and do my thing, and just try and push the boundaries in my own way. And one more thing, guys, before I leave you today, is if you ever want to join a lovely community of drum and bass producers, then I have a really sick Discord crew. We're quite a tight crew now, but there's always room for a couple more people, and it's just one of the best communities in drum and bass on the internet, in my opinion, because everyone's so friendly and supportive and kind, and actually some really talented producers as well. So there's a lot of knowledge, a lot of skill, but most importantly of all, a lot of respect between everyone. So that's the main thing. Yeah. Tomorrow, we're going to go back into sound design stuff. I'm going to compose a double layered synth. So I'm going to do a Vital and a Phase Plant synth that are layered together to create one mega sound. Okay, so wish me luck for that, and make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications and all that, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great start to your week. Peace out, much love, take it easy.